Okay, for those that might be, I don't know if everybody's monitoring yet, we'll be starting this discussion in just a few seconds here. Okay, yeah, people are coming on.
Okay.
All right, Ed, talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Okay, this wasn't an announced live event. I'm doing it because I need to talk about HB 961. I think there's a lot of information out there that we need to get out, and so the people understand what's happening with it. We didn't pre-announce this, and my thinking is that people can watch this later. They don't necessarily have to be here live, but we're certainly happy. Everybody that's joining in, I'm glad to see you here. Had a few technical snafus coming up, as I always do with this Facebook video. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today is what happened in the committee room in the House, the Public Safety Committee. Virtually every gun bill in front of them passed out, including, unfortunately, HB 961, which is Delegate Mark Levine's assault weapon, suppressor, higher capacity magazine ban, and a bunch of other stuff, none of which he understands, by the way. We know that. We watched the rather comical video that he put together trying to explain his own bill. He had no idea what he's doing. But needless to say, we had a big turnout. Just kind of what I was hoping for. We flooded the room. There was just a tiny little pocket of moms demand action in their little red shirts. The rest of the room, the rest of that side where they were sitting, was all flooded with Gun Saves Lives stickers. I tweeted out some photos of that so that people could see. And the doors closed because the room was full. They were lined up along the walls. They closed the doors. We flooded the hall behind the closed doors as well. I got a picture of some of that, but that area continued to grow. I mean, the room was filled to capacity long before the meeting started. So that was a good problem to have. I felt bad for the people in the hall, but it was a good problem to have. We certainly turned out to show that we don't want any of these bills, including HB 264, which is going to make it harder to find an instructor. And so forth, but 961 was the big bad one. The hope was that maybe we could get the committee to walk away from that bill. So that didn't happen, but I think one of the reasons I'm doing this video is, number one, some of you are new to the legislative process. There's some of you that, quite honestly, are just now getting your voter registration. Everybody that's a gun owner needs to register to vote and needs to vote. If you're not doing that, you're part of the problem. But I recognize that some people are new to this, and maybe some are very young that are new to it. They just haven't had a chance to get into this. So we'll be talking about the civics end of this, how bills make it into law, so that you can understand where we are and where we're going. I think that's important. That people don't jump to conclusions and send in, oh no, they've passed HB 961, now what do I do? The answer, of course, is they haven't passed the bill into law. It's nowhere near that step. There's a series of steps that these bills go through, and the quicker we can derail it, yeah, the better. But we've got plenty of time. It can die at any one of many points along the road. And we need to make sure that we do everything we can to stop it. So what happened today was we had a strong turnout. We only had 5 minutes per side to speak. And that got quickly gobbled up with just a few speakers. In fact, I was like fourth in line, and by the time I got there, the original 5 minutes was gone. So they granted another minute, so I got up there and took 30 seconds of that to give my side of this for VCDL, and then a few other speakers got to speak, and then they were just let everybody raise their hand. There was some spirited discussion with the Republicans on this, where they were bringing out all the flaws and technical issues with this bill. But at the end of the day, the vote came down, mostly along partisan lines. I haven't seen the final vote. It came up too quickly to get the exact breakdown. I don't know if it was completely partisan or if a few of the Democrats didn't vote with the bill. I'll look. I apologize. I will put that out in an alert. You'll see the exact vote. It should be probably up online by now, or it will be this afternoon. But the point was, it did pass, and the Republicans did their best to put the kibosh on it, but they didn't have the votes. So there was some yelling in the room when it passed. Not really good decorum. However, as I told the Richmond Times-Dispatch, I said, well, normally one doesn't make a noise or anything during these things. I said, I understand it. We're talking about them taking away or gravely affecting a civil right. This bill would affect our right to defend ourselves. That is not something that one isn't passionate about. There was a lot of passion in that room. Everybody there felt passion. And unfortunately, it gave them an excuse to clear the room out. Everybody was cleared out of the room. But the vote was over. And there was one other bill being heard, but that was the main one. But I understand the passion. We should have passion. This is serious. This is not a joke. This is not some minor thing. They're not raising our taxes by a nickel. This is life and death to some people. To be to any of us. We never know. So let's talk a little bit. Let's do the civics thing real quick here. For this bill to become law, it's got many steps left. The next step is it's cleared committee, it cleared subcommittee. It's now, well, no, it didn't clear subcommittee. This one didn't go to a subcommittee. That was interesting in itself that they didn't send it to a subcommittee. Very unusual for a bill of this intensity to not go to a subcommittee, but they didn't. But it did clear committee. That means that now it's going to go to the floor. So on the floor, they're going to read it a couple times. They can make some more modifications on the floor. Another chance for, say, Republicans to modify it. But I can tell you what, this bill is so ugly, it is so bad, there is no modification that will save it. There is none. The only modification that will save this bill is killing it. It's a monstrosity that cannot be fixed. So let's not even concern ourselves with trying to fix it. There's nothing to fix. Our goal is to kill this monstrosity. And the next step, if it clears the floor, which requires a majority vote, which unfortunately, again, the Democrats have the votes unless some of them walk away from this. And if 5 of them or more walk away, then it's dead. It's over. If they don't, it goes to the Senate, and we start all over again. This will go to the Senate committee, the judiciary, and this will be in a couple weeks, or a week or two. It'll be in the judiciary if it passes the House, and then in the Judiciary Committee, we'll have a chance to kill it there. And if we can't stop it in the Judiciary Committee, and we'll do the same thing we did here, is we'll turn out everybody to flood that Judiciary Committee to try and stop HB 961 in committee, just like we tried here. This is a different ball game in the Senate. This is not going to be the same as it is in the House. And if it gets out of committee, it then goes to the floor. But things are different in the Senate. Number one, Senator Lewis from the Eastern Shore has already publicly said in a news article that he will not support and does not support any gun bans. And there are, I believe, enough senators. We just need one more Democrat and every Republican to stand with us. One more Democrat, and we get 2, and we've killed it. That's all it's going to take. One will not be good enough. We need 2 senators. And I believe we can pull this off. But we need to be patient. We need to let the system work through. We need to be vocal. We need to contact our senators. Because if it does clear the Senate floor unchanged, then it's going to go to the governor's desk, and we know what he's going to do. But if they change the bill, then there's another chance to kill it. It's something called a conference committee, where the House will send 3 delegates and the Senate will send 3 senators. And between them, a majority has to come up with a solution or the bill dies. So we've got all these steps in between this bill landing on the governor's desk. If the governor signs it, we still have until, at a minimum, July 1st before the bill becomes effective. And it could be as late as January 1st of 2021 before it becomes effective. Now, let's take the worst case scenario. It gets out of the House, it clears Senate committee, it clears the Senate, which is a big if. And if there's a conference committee, it clears the conference committee, and then it goes to the governor. Well, and let's say he signs it into law. I can tell you now that VCDL has already got lawyers preparing for that worst case scenario on this and the other bills. They are already putting together what's going to be needed to fight this in court. Have no doubt we're going to court if this passes. And we'll be looking at the Virginia Supreme Court with Article 1, Section 13, which clearly states that we are all the militia covered by the Second Amendment, and it clearly states that we should be trained to arms. We can't be trained to arms if they've taken away our arms, can we? So we will be ready to go. The minute the governor signs the bill, we'll be ready to go for a stay, to stop action on it till it can be heard in the courts. And again, when he signs it, it doesn't become law immediately. No, it's not. At the earliest, it'll be July 1. So we'll have months to get things rolling in the court system. We need to be patient. The time now is to stand up the way we've been standing up. And by the way, I'm proud as hell of all you guys. I mean, wow. Even today, the turnout, the extremely nice people that were there, but the determined people, men and women, all colors, all religions, all there. I'm proud of you guys, and we're seeing this continuing to sweep the Commonwealth. And if the Democrats continue to push this issue, and they've way overstepped with this bill, way overstepped, that will not be good for them in the long run. They have activated gun owners. We are getting people signed up that weren't signed up to vote before. I think a lot of people have finally learned the lesson that it's not that damned hard to get out and vote. How hard is that to get off your ass one day a year and drive down and cast a vote and go back to work? How hard is that? Would that have been a lot easier than doing this? But I think they've learned their lesson. I pray to God they've learned their lesson, because as a voting bloc of 2 million people in a Commonwealth that has only 8 million people, we are a significant power, but we are a giant that's decided rather than to use its power to sit still and just go on with life and not pay attention to what's going on around us until something has come up and bit us on the butt. Then we're suddenly going, whoa, how did that happen? Well, hello, welcome to what we've been warning people about for years. This battle is far from lost, folks, far from lost. But it's important everybody understand this is not the time to go fleeing to some other state. It's not time for counties to become part of West Virginia. That's all very nice and kind and wonderful of them to offer. Appreciate that. I mean, that was truly nice of them. But this battle isn't going to stop in Virginia. And those in West Virginia are going to be facing this same battle if we can't stop it. It's just a matter of delaying to do a tactic like that. Plus, the General Assembly has to authorize those counties to leave. What do you think the odds are of that? I'd say 0. So let's focus on what we can do. And we need to take this all step by step. We've got options in the courts. We have lots of options. We have protests that we can do. There's plenty we can do in protests. VCDL hasn't done a protest on this yet. I'll remind you of that. We did Lobby Day. That was lobbying. We haven't done a protest. We're quite capable of doing protests. And that turnout could be spectacular if they thought Lobby Day was spectacular. Understand that people with other states continue to stand with us. We keep getting contacted with support from other states. Brothers and sisters out there recognizing where we are and the importance of us winning this battle in where the freedom of this country began. And as I said, it will not end here. We cannot let that happen. So for now, while you should be upset about this vote, and while we need to hold everybody accountable that votes wrong, every Democrat that voted wrong for this needs to be held accountable, every single one of them. And I don't care if you live in a district where it's overwhelmingly Democrat. I wonder how many sleeping gun owners are sitting up there in Arlington, in Fairfax, and Loudoun. How many are sleeping in Albemarle that if they stood up and voted, the colors might shift a little bit from blue to purple? This is a big deal. And by the way, we're up to, I believe it's 141 localities now that are sanctuaries. It continues to grow as towns come on board. There were 133 localities that most people count. Those are cities and counties. But there's a lot of towns, and they're all coming on board. Lovett came on board last night. And we're up to 141. That map is way greener than it was at Lobby Day. And it's going to continue to get greener, I predict, until there's absolutely no towns left that haven't voted on this and no localities. So I didn't want to make this a very long presentation, and I'm hoping you'll share it. We'll post this to YouTube. I hope it gets shared. The whole idea was to be an educational thing, so people understand. We don't go into this blindsided thinking, oh my God, my rights are gone. No, they're not gone. No, it's not going to be that easy. So let's be of strong will, strong heart. Let's be what our founding fathers expect us to be and fight the battle that we're expected to fight. And let's win this, because I tell you what, the whole country is looking at this. And not only are we fighting for us and our families and our future generations of Virginians, we're fighting for Colorado, California, New Mexico, Texas, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina. Oh yeah, Bloomberg's got his sights set on North Carolina next. They're down there watching this now, watching things spreading down their way. Let's do this, guys. Let's win this battle, and we'll do another video shortly. I'm sorry, I wasn't really planning on taking any questions. This was sort of a, let's get the word out there. You guys can reach me. My emails, I'm down to now 18,000 from 25. So I'm getting there. I'm catching up. Soon I'll do an alert on Lobby Day. I'm finally getting to the point where I now have finally gotten through January 20th of 2020. Now I've got a long list of videos and articles that I'll put out there about Lobby Day. That made history, folks. Those of you that attended that, you were part of history. And I'll get that out. I don't know. It'll be fairly soon. But unfortunately, it's a moving ball right now because things like this keep happening, and I don't have the time to really put into it. But we're good. I appreciate every one of you. Everybody's in the fight, and that's what we need. I thank everybody, and we'll do another video to catch up on some other things. When this is posted, please share it. Get it out to everybody you know, and let's make sure their spirits stay up and that they stay determined in the fight, and let's get the job done. Thank you.